Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Whoa, we're about to get into this live today. We are about to get into this live today. How's everybody doing? Quick shout outs. We got Andrea in the chat, first one. Thank you so much for coming through. And we got Real Talk 87. What's going on, bro? What's up? Jayla, hi there. How you doing? The Jacksons are in the house. The Jacksons, if you aren't following TFG 365 TV, please do me a favor. Go over there and subscribe to their channel because they do a lot of great stuff from entrepreneurship to uplifting information and things like that. Yo, what? My camera look all out of... That's better. So please go over there and follow them. They're really good friends of mine. They're like my family. I look like I'm a little choppy too. I hope it doesn't skip. Eat to Live Strong. What's going on, sis? We're about to get into this conversation. Because honestly, I really just want to be educated on this. I want to be educated on this because I appreciate manhood, right? I spent the better part of my life being a man. I was a boy at one point, but then I grew up. Then I became a man. At least I would like to think so. But you know what? Manhood has become very subjective, right? And we are living in a time now where men are calling themselves men. And the question is, do we really know what it means to be a man? And then when we become a man, how should we treat women when we are men? And then who's doing the teaching? Who's teaching us how to treat women when we become men, right? Yo. So, I just want to have a open conversation. And I'm inviting you guys to join me in the conversation. That means you can call in. Yes, you'll be able to call in and talk to me about this specific topic. My mother's in the chat. What's going on, Mom? How you doing? So, do I look a little choppy? I feel like I'm coming off a little choppy. I'm not sure if it's me. Let me know. Let me know if the image is slightly stuttering. It looks like it's stuttering on my part. It may be coming okay on yours, but if not, I'll make it work. But listen, a couple of weeks ago, I posted up a short, called Kevin Samuels Don't Speak for All Men. Now, this is not about Kevin. I'm not making this video about Kevin Samuels. So, but I posted up a video. All right. It is a bad. Yeah, so I'm using Streamlabs OBS. I was hoping that I paid for a month. I was hoping that it would fix the problem. It's not. So, yeah, Streamlabs OBS is definitely going to be something I'm going to scratch altogether. But I posted up this YouTube short, 47 seconds, 43 seconds, whatever. And it made a lot of people mad, right? I want to show you guys some of the comments, all right? Check this out. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the comments, all right? All right, there we are, right? If you can read that. The first one that you see there is, "You're too old to be simping, my man. Get a grip." And you know what? I've never once in my life been called a simp. Not once. In fact, to be perfectly honest, which I heard the term, but I didn't pay much mind to it. In fact, to be honest, I think one of the first people I've heard say it was you, Real. Like my space is slightly different. I spend a lot of time with older men and students because I'm a teacher and I'm pretty active in my church. So that term simp, I had to really look up and digest, especially since now I'm being called it. Because if you're calling me something, I need to be educated on what it means. Okay, so I've been called a simp only because I simply said that KS doesn't speak for all men. He doesn't speak for me. I even said that, like, I'm not really like against what he has to say. I just don't agree with his approach, right? But then all of a sudden, just by me saying that, I'm a simp. You're too old to be simping, my man. I mean, I'm 41. You could say I'm old. I like to say that I'm aged a little bit, like wine. But I'll accept old. Usually what comes with old or age is maturity. So, and what's funny is, here's the funny thing. Here's where I'm immature. I sort of like responded to almost every negative comment with something slightly humorous but non-threatening. Like you can call me all the names you want. I don't know you, and my fourth graders do that. My fourth graders, third graders, second graders, when they don't have anything intelligent to say, they tend to insult people. So I know how to deal with people who go on and try to insult me. It is what it is. I could care less. But look, you're too old to be simpy, my man. Get a grip. I'm old and I'm a simp. It's two for one. All right. What else? One person just commented simp. They were able to get that right here. Little Rock 2517. Simp. Just simp. All right. Just simp. Some people are pretty creative with their insults, to be perfectly honest with you. Some made me laugh. This one I was called a beta simp. A beta simp. So you're correct. He doesn't speak for beta simps. Well, then he speaks for alpha males, and alpha males have other men speaking for them? Okay. What else? Or, hold on. There was others that said simp. Oh, wait. Tell us something we don't know. Old head goofy. I don't mind. Like those are names that my fourth graders can say to each other. Like I just think it's hilarious. But a few others call me like right here. This dude right here a simp, and Kevin Samuels speak facts. All right, I didn't say he doesn't come with factual data. I just say he doesn't speak for me, and people are able to. So at this point, I'm like, I need to really, really, really understand what a simp is, because I've never been called that. And the honest truth is this. According to their definition, I'm pretty far from it. But I digress. All right, so let's go into the definition of simp. And I'm getting it from Google, dictionary.com, because dictionary.com actually put it in their dictionary. I'm not sure if it's part of the lexicon, but it's there. You're not only a simp, but a beta simp. Yeah, bro. So I had to understand what a simp is. And I'm hoping I can get some engagement so that you could teach me, because maybe I am a simp. You'll let me know. But I went to Urban Dictionary, regular dictionary, and Google to get these definitions. Now check out the definitions of simp, okay? Here we have an internet slang. A simp is a person, often male, who excessively excessively differential, engages in flattery, or does way too much for a person they like, sometimes with the ulterior motive of courtship towards an intimate relationship or sexual intercourse. Okay. What does it mean to be a simp? According to Urban Dictionary, a simp is someone who does way too much for a person they like. Simping, meanwhile, is a verb describing the action of being a simp, meaning sucking up, schmoozing, or otherwise pinning over a romantic interest. Dictionary.com. This is like official dictionary.com. They have a definition too. Simp is a slang insult for men who are seen as too attentive. By the way, by me saying that Kevin Samuels doesn't speak for me, defines me as a simp. And it says here, for men who are seen as too attentive and submissive to women. Where did they get that from, me saying he doesn't speak for me? But especially out of a failed hope of winning some entitled sexual attention. And we're going to talk about this too. Or activity from them. Okay? So we're going to talk about this too. All right, because there are some activities that these quote unquote alpha males that they like to call themselves are doing that actually is simp behavior, according to these definitions, and we're going to talk about it. And the Urban Dictionary says this: someone who does way too much for a person they like. Simple. Like, if you do way too much for a person you like, you're a simp. Like traveling to another country, paying a plane ticket. You know, let's say a country like Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Colombia, Brazil, just so that you can meet women. That sounds like simp behavior according to this. They do way too much for a person they like. Or what if they do way too much so that they can get people to like them? All right, so let's talk. Let's talk about it, because here's the thing. I'm about to say some things that's going to upset two people, men and women, okay? Because that's what I do. Like I don't mean to upset, but sometimes me just trying to understand certain things and poke holes in people's logic, it makes them upset. So my intention isn't to make people upset. My intention is to understand where they're coming from so that I can understand where they're coming from. All right. So if a person does way too much for a person they like, or if a person does way too much to try to get people that like them, then they can be considered simp. So we're going to go into that according to these definitions. All right. According to these definitions. Oh, let me just shout out Black Light Revelations for coming in. Thank you so much for coming through. Glad you're able to be here. I appreciate you being here, fam. Okay, so now let's get into the discussion. If you would like to join the discussion, simple. All you got to do is dial this number, 908-444-6257, and let's talk about this, please. Let's talk about this because I really want to know. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you after I take a sip of my coffee. I already know that I'm not like most men. I don't think like most men. I don't behave like most men. I don't operate like most men. I am my own man. Always have been, always will be, and I encourage men to do the same. So lately I've been researching manhood, at least recently, after watching people like KS and others in the Black manosphere and the man space out there. I've been trying to learn their positions and honestly, I'm trying to go into it trying to support what they're trying to do, right? But there's this term simping that has been going around and other men calling other men simps because of certain things, and it just seems extremely subjective. I just think that it seems like if one man don't like something that another man is doing, or if it is somewhat slightly perceived to be in disagreement with what they're saying, and it doesn't have to elevate a woman at all, they're automatically called a simp. So I want to talk about what it actually means and how does that play out? How does that play out? Okay. Hey, Mr. Harris, glad I finally caught you. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad you're here too. And if you guys want to join the conversation, I pinned the telephone number at the top. Call in and let's talk about it. Let's chop it up. All right. Male and female alike. Okay. But what we're not going to do, right, is we're not going to bash the other gender. All right. We're going to have a discussion. And if we have disagreements, we're going to be mature adults to share disagreements without bashing one another, because I'm not about bashing anybody. That's not what we do here. I lift as I climb. So if I like to bring people up to a higher level, okay? Which also we're going to talk a little bit about that also. So, a simp, I guess, would look like somebody who overdoes it in hopes to try to get attention from somebody, right? And actually, in some definitions, men can simp over other men. So when we talk about behaviors, according to that definition, any person who sort of defended Kevin Samuels in my comments exhibited simp behavior or beta male behavior. I don't expect Kevin Samuels to watch my video. I'm a nobody to him. I have, 1,300 subscribers to his 300,000. He's not thinking about me, right? And that's okay. But people want to defend him, and that's fine. He's a grown man that could probably defend himself, but there's not really much to defend. I never said that I disagree 100% with him. Some things I disagree with, some things I agree with. And because I'm my own man, I can do that, right? So, but if you're defending another man and you're elevating another man to a certain level, then in actuality, wouldn't you be simping after that man or not? So let's talk about it. A simp is based on self-love investment. If you are putting more work into validation of yourself through satisfaction of others, that's simping. You can simp even outside of a relationship. It's toxic. Levels of being an empath, in my opinion. And you know what's deep about that Black Light Revelations is that I watched a video just the other day about that simping thing, right? And he mentioned how friends can simp over other friends. In his example, he had two female friends who would only reach out to him, right, when they were going out to eat, knowing that he would pay. And he was like, wait a minute. Because every time he would reach out to them, they wouldn't write back until they wanted to get something to eat. And it was like, wait a minute. Am I being a simp for my friends? What's going on, Shanita Marie? Randomly, glad you can make it. All right. So, um, so that in essence would be simp behavior, right? So and honestly speaking, like is me saying that Kevin Samuels don't speak for me and he doesn't speak for all men, and then saying I agree with him on some points, but others I disagree with, right? Especially sometimes his approach, that makes me a simp. So it seems like men who and women, but men in this situation who want to throw insults automatically and not engage in meaningful conversation seem to exhibit behavior that they don't like that women do, like throw insults at somebody. All right. First off, I'm a man, and because I'm a man, if another man insults me, it does nothing for me. Like I'm not like, oh my gosh, he called me a simp. Oh my god, I'm not doing it. I've experienced way too much. I've gone through way too many things, and my 3 sons, my oldest who's married, who's giving me a grandson, my 18-year-old who is a college freshman at Morehouse College, and my 13-year-old who is an amazing student who gives me a headache sometimes, and his principal a headache sometimes. Like I got 3 amazing boys that I'm raising to become men. That's doing pretty good for themselves. So there's not really much that anybody can throw at me, insults that's going to make me, cry. But I did have some great conversation with some of the men that responded who didn't agree with my position. And we were able to chop it up like men do, right? They weren't simping over the guy that I spoke about in the video. They were just like, you know what? He said some facts. I'm like, yeah, I agree. And then we talked about it, and I said, listen, I'm not saying that he's wrong on some of the stuff he's saying. I just don't agree with a lot of his approaches. And that's okay, right? But because of that, I'm simping, right? A Black Light says, boom, there is a psychologist named Sam Van Vaknin. He's on YouTube. In my opinion, he has the most accurate and crude commentary on male-female dynamics. Simping in that situation, in my opinion, would be validating Kevin Samuels' videos more than you invest in and validate your own talking points. That would be intellectual and philosophical. And that's my point. And that's all I was trying to get. You know what? I think if I would have said that, I probably wouldn't get all the insults. So what you just did was summarize what I was trying to do and get men to do. Think for yourself. You can take some of the things that he says, but listen, don't take everything and all of a sudden indoctrinate yourself and say what he says is gold. He's going to become the man space messiah, and I'm going to follow him because of the way he speaks to women. Because honestly speaking, the reason why a lot of men like him is because of the way he has spoken to women recently. But the truth of the matter is he speaks to men the same way. So like my knock isn't really against Kevin Samuels. Like he can be a jerk to both people, but if he is a jerk, he's a jerk to both at times, right? Or if he's insensitive to both at times. It's when one gender is championing somebody because he's behaving a certain way toward one gender when he's doing it for both. But then if he was to do it to them, they'll cry like a baby. But back to the simping, right? Shanita Marie randomly says, simp is basically the new urban word for lame. See, now they just call me lame, all right? Because I'm going to tell you now, I may be lame. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Mr. Rogers is one of my all-time favorite people. In fact, I strive to be like Mr. Rogers. I'm wearing a cardigan because I want to be like Mr. Rogers. Many people would think he's lame. I think he's a hero. So yeah, call me lame. I won't disagree with that, okay? I won't. But a simp, a simp. So I like Mr. Rogers. Some people may think he's lame, but that's my guy. It's reciprocal narcissism. When you self-validate through your admiration of others, or you want to be like others. The problem is the simp word usually gets thrown around to discredit opposing talking points, and that's my thing. Now, if it's subjective completely, all right, then I don't want to have anything to say about it. But because there's actual definitions, and you're calling other men a simp because they don't agree with you, I'm about to poke holes in your logic. And if you guys don't mind, this may offend some of you guys, but I'm not trying to throw judgment. I'm just trying to poke holes in the logic, okay? So according to these definitions, right? And I'm not talking about subjective. I'm not talking about I don't really do that whole simp thing, right? I think there's some weak-minded men who are delusional, and if that's what them being called a simp is, then I get it. But here's my thing, right? I was listening to a podcast last week, or a couple of days ago, with a couple of big names of the men who are in that manosphere space. And again, a lot of their points are valid, okay? But then they don't consider the inconsistencies in their thinking, right? They would call a man a simp if he lives in America and he tries to splurge on a woman to get her attention in order to have the hopes of having a relationship with her. Now, by definition, that's a simp, right? Like he's doing way too much. He's doing way too much to get this woman's attention. But in the conversation I heard, and this is going to upset some people, they talked about going to Dominican Republic, Brazil, and Colombia, flying all the way out there because the women out there love them for who they are, all right? Like I said, I'm about to upset some men. Some of these men are probably living in their mother's basements, all right, on YouTube all day or on video games all day. They got some coin. They know they can't date a woman out here that make more than them because black women out here have a hard time dating under them, which that's a whole nother conversation. And black women tend to be delusional about things like that as well. And we can get into that at a different time. But they would take their coin, spend money on a flight, spend money at a resort, all right, in order to try to impress a woman in a different country. Wouldn't that be considered doing way too much for a person they like? Wouldn't that be considered simping? Or, and this is where I'm about to touch some people and ruffle some feathers, right? A man who is trying to win the attention of a woman, invites a woman on a date, and he goes all out, takes her to a nice, expensive restaurant, throws maybe $300-$400 on the first night, right, on a woman, hoping that she would like him, right? That's considered a simp. However, a man can go to a strip club, drop a stack on a woman simply for twerking in front of him, right? Knowing full well that there will never be anything between them, but he's still willing to drop a stack on her just because she looked good and he's trying to get her attention and she's doing some visual favor for him. And he's going to drop a stack. That's not simping also? Is that not simping? So we have to really understand the logic behind that term, okay? Because in that conversation I heard with those the young men, all right, they bragged about going to another country and doing that. They bragged about it. So I'm like, wow, but isn't that simping as well? So what exactly is simping? What is it? Because if you're calling one person a simp, when you're exhibiting simping behavior also, but except, you're trying to prove, show this bravado that you're a man and an alpha, and you're not like you're being a simp as well, right? We throw in that, like you said earlier, Black Light. We throw that term way too much around. Like we throw it around, right? And we do it so that we can hurt somebody's feelings or just and what happens is when you throw a word around enough, it loses its value. All right? And I'm going to be honest, like women throwing around that whole I'm an independent woman. It's been thrown around so much that it has absolutely no value to men anymore. Because men don't care if a woman is independent anymore. We just don't care. We don't care if you're an independent woman. All right? And if you're trying to get married and you want to have a real man that you can have a real relationship with, we don't care if you're an independent woman. That's not our concern. So that's one of those terms that's been thrown around a lot that when men hear it, they're like, whatever, I'm done. And simp is sort of becoming like that. It's becoming like that, right? Simping is exerting more energy into what you are trying to achieve or conquer than it is investing to you. It's actually a math equation that describes a disequilibrium in the male female. Agreed. Agreed. And that's the thing, right? Let me I'm gonna be honest. Like, so my wife, right? She loves God. Like, she's like she's a Christian. Like, loves Jesus. Like, her relationship with God is amazing, right? Like, she loves Jesus, and she sets specific standards, right? And she was used to a specific kind of treatment from men. And I don't want to say that this is how I won her. However, I will say this: me doing what I'm about to tell you I did allowed her to see who I was, right? And not what I have. Okay? We have this idea that men's wealth or men's value is in what he has or his money and whatnot. But for real women, right? Real women, not girls, real women, they're looking. There's an aspect of that, but they also predominantly want a man with character. So I approached the relationship like, listen, and I was upfront. I don't do the whole I'm taking you out on the first date and trying to impress you. All right. There are certain treatments that I want to give my wife when I'm married that I'm not trying to give a girl that I'm trying to get to know. So in the beginning, we're going to go for coffee shops. We're going to go for walks. We're going to go for ice cream. We're going to have a nice time, but I'm not about to splurge any money on you, because not that you're not worth it. You may be worth it. I just need to see that you're worth it. And then when I know that, then I will. But at the end of the day, if I give this to you, if I give you the 5-star treatment, right? How is my wife going to feel knowing that I've given you the same treatment that I gave her, right? So I don't know. Does that sound like simping to you? But here's the thing. A lot of those men, they do that. They'll fly over to other countries and do all that. They talked about some of the people that they know that they're financing women over there. And sometimes it's easier for them. And this is the thing about black men. And this is one thing that I'm fully against. It seems like not all black men, but some black men want to find the easy way out on things, right? They want to find the easy way out. So because a woman making 6 figures will never look at a man who makes $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, right? They'll get mad at that woman instead of saying, all right, she's not the one for me. Or saying, you know what, I need to level up, because we're living in a time where black women are here economically or whatever, making money, and they look down on us. Nah, they're not about to look down on me. I'm going to level up, all right? And then I'm going to find a woman with character. But we're not doing that. We want the easy way out. So it's easier for us to fly to another country and simp on women there, because we can't do it here because those women don't want us in America. So you got to poke the holes in it. And you got to, because the thing is, if men really appreciate honesty and they appreciate facts, then they're going to listen to this and say, you know what? I don't know who this Dre is. I don't agree with him on everything, but he has some valid points. I need to really think about this, because if I'm willing to fly out to another country to splurge money on some woman who would probably have a different boyfriend every month doing the same thing, and you're scheduled to go out there, maybe I am simping. That's not criticism. Definition, things like religion and patriotism and the ultimate forms of simp are the ultimate forms of simping. They literally tell you to be selfless. That's not a criticism on religion, just an example for semantic purposes. I think a woman who makes more will look at a man who makes less. That man has to understand how to control the situation with his resources. Agreed. Self-value exploitation is a technique we all must learn going forward. True. Now, I don't agree with you on that whole religion thing, and there's reasons why. But if we could talk about that in a different time, bro. Like, we can really talk about that, because I understand why you say that, right? And there's some aspects of specifically the Christian faith where it talks about selflessness. But the reason the selflessness it talks about is more based on community growth and not self deprivation. You know, it's not about denying yourself like that. Like when they say denying yourself, they're saying denying yourself to things like sin, not things like resources. Okay. And if you have resources, you should be looking out for the collective of the community. But we can talk more about that. There's some things that I don't mind chopping it up because and the thing is, with disagreements, I enjoy talking about it because it helps sharpen me, and it may expose some things in me that I have some ideas that may be toxic, that's underlying, that I haven't really unpacked, that would be able to unpack, you know? So yeah, if you want to talk about it, like, we could definitely chop it up. So, but again, like that, and that's the thing, like if men disagree, we come to the table, we go to the barbershop. Hey, you know, give me that, give me the fade with the number 3 on top. Hey, yo, the other day I heard you talking about so and so. Listen, bro, I think you're full of it, man, because so and so and so and so. And then we chop it up. That's how men are supposed to do it, not be in people's chats and comments throwing insults. Let's not do that. Yeah, still sharp and still, for real. And that's what it is, right? Like, I want to see men become men. I want to see men really grow. Like this is one thing I really believe and I stand firm. And if you get a chance, I want you guys to go to this website. This is an organization I started years ago called The Roll Call. Right. Where I did some research and started this organization, just hopefully to just elevate men to be a little bit more responsible in all areas of their life. Where the role is an acronym for responsibility, opportunity, leadership, and education, right? And so I really am passionate about seeing men be like men, right? And I really firmly believe that strong men build strong families, and strong families build strong communities. And I think that the reason why the black family is the way it is because we have not given enough respect to black men. We have not given them the responsibility, the opportunity, their place of leadership, and the education to be the men that they could be in our communities. So in this space here, in this space, we have a thing where black men are feeling unappreciated within their own communities and with their own women. So now they're flying overseas to try to find peace, to try to find somebody that would love them for them, right? That would love them for them, right? There's two sides of that, because now we have the black woman not appreciating the black man, the plight of the black man, or the efforts of the black man in America. Then we also have the black man not wanting to rise to the occasion, not wanting to be challenged, right? And want to be exactly who they want to be without growth. You can't. Some men want to grow economically and when they want money in their pocket, but the true mark of a man is how he handles responsibility. How he handles responsibility. That's the true mark of a man, because in all of those things that people believe men to be, there's a level of responsibility there. And if you're trying to escape responsibility, you can't really define yourself as a real man. I'll give myself the air horn on that one. Bars. Let me get some sip of coffee. You know? So there's two sides of it. And I will say this, right? KS does a great job at poking holes at the logic, right? At people's logic, at women's logic. And lately his platform has been predominantly women and catering to women. I'm not going to say pandering, but he's definitely catering to women. The man found a space and he's thriving in it. So, bro, go ahead, do your thing, right? But it's insane that we live in a time where people are so overly sensitive that they don't want to hear truth in any form, right? Like, if you guys watch Sunday's Battle of the Sexes, right? My approach is very different from Real's approach and from Logic's approach, but it's true. And we get offended by truth. And if you get offended by truth, then you need to grow. Truth is truth. So some of the things that KS says is absolutely true. I just don't appreciate his approach, and that's why I am the way I am. But I also appreciate people like my brother Real and Logic with their approach, because it's still at the end of the day truth, right? So Real Talk says, I always say a man proves himself as a man by how he handles adversity, not what he has. Agreed. And I think that's the bottom line right there, bro. It sucks that politicians cater to black women than black men. We need our men to lead so that these politicians can see their worth. I feel you on that. And that's also strategic and design. That's by design to emasculate black men so that black women reach a certain level, leave the black men, because in the black family space, they're the only demographic where the man is behind the woman. And I think that that's detrimental to black families. So women enjoy gentle challenge. Kevin Samuels exploits women's desires for that tension. It's something that only true player knows about. He is smart. He is smart. Like he knows exactly where his lane has to be right now to find success on social media, and he's doing it. It ain't always truth. Just because you don't like what it says doesn't mean it's not true. Now, I'm not saying that everything that a man says is true. So let me not say that. However, I will say that some truths are presented, and because it's not coddling, it's not pandering, some women don't want to really receive it. And one thing most women do want is the truth. All right. But sometimes familiarity breeds contempt. So some women just won't receive truth from people that they know very closely, or males they know very closely. So that could be it also. But not saying that that's the case with you, but I do know familiarity sometimes breeds contempt. But truth is truth, no matter who gives it. Facts on the political aspects. A lot of what is going on in society, in social engineering. And the thing is, it's been designed that way from the time the ships landed in West Africa to pull us out of there. Women enjoy bringing a debate right to the brink of an explosion. Freudian psychology is real in how we deal with reality. Yeah. So I have this complex. Like, I feel like my lips are dry all the time. So Jayla will tell you, I'll stop teaching and have to. By the way, I'm a teacher during the day. I'll stop teaching and put on and apply chapstick. So back to this whole simping thing. What exactly, or no, we already know what a simp is, or what the term simp means, the definition. How is it played out? How is being a simp played out? What does it actually look like? And if you want to join the conversation, call me up, 908-444-6257. The number is pinned up at the top of the chat. I want to welcome to join, because I really want to see what this looks like. Or to women, what do you ladies feel? Do you guys want men simping over you? Do you want men, elevating you and putting you on a pedestal, so much so that they will ignore their own needs? Most other problems will be solved if black men get more political power, such as changing child support laws, divorce laws, small business laws, all the things they hate in the black manosphere. Agreed. Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, I always put chapstick on. All right. So what does a simp look like? The number again, 908-444-6257. Really would like to know. And I would love to know how women feel about it. Hot mess, Ness, what's up? How's the family? How's my boy doing? How's my boy? Well, he's got to be what, in the 7th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade? 5th, 6th grade? No, 5th grade, I think, right? So let's talk about it, because do women really want that? All right, and can a woman respect a man that simps on them? Can she respect a man that simps on her? Because one thing I've sixth grade. See, I knew it. Sixth grade. That's my boy right there. All right. So here's the thing, right? Simps are beta males. Women want beta men for use and discard. They don't want alphas either, but have to have alpha cues only on alpha. Only an alpha can service the female natural needs, physically and emotionally. I don't think a woman would respect a simp. I don't think so either. All right, but yeah, simps are beta males. I feel that, and they'll position themselves. I guess if we're talking about like the alpha and beta, they position themselves second to the woman, which would allow the woman to take that alpha position in a relationship. So it could definitely happen. All right, I did some slight research, and actually, my wife sent me a thing last week, right, about alpha males, right? And then she said, you're not an alpha male. And I was like, yo. What you talking about, babe? Like, you're my wife. Like, you telling me I'm not an alpha? She said, no, you're not alpha. You're more like a sigma male. I'm like, what is that? And she sent me information, right? And I was reading it, and I was like, yo. And I'm going to do a video on the difference between an alpha male and a sigma male, right? Sigma males are on the same level as an alpha male, except, right, it's funny, right? Yo, I was about to clap back. I'm like, yo, babe, you throwing insults now. Like, you saying that you're the alpha in this relationship? But she called me a sigma male because she was looking it up. Sigma males are on par at level with the alpha male, right? Except they're not out there in the open, right? They garner respect in a very low key type of way, without trying and without effort. It just happens. An alpha male can go in a room and make noise to let people know that he's there. The sigma male walks in the room, right? And he's quiet. But when he speaks, everything stops and everyone's listening. Right? That's what it's. There's a subtle differences that it's pretty dope. So when she says, you're not an alpha, you're more like a sigma male, I was like, babe, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. I think that alpha and beta are misused terms. I agree with that. I don't think that they are actual types of men. I think that they are spectrums. I can get with that. I can rock with that. With the traits, you can have alpha and beta traits, and they can change. I agree. Because honestly, like the beta wolf could take over the alpha position. Like it can happen. So it could change. There are times when being a beta can be more beneficial. It's an alpha aura. Some beta males have an alpha aura, but it's a mirage. And that's the thing. So now let's talk about that, and let's talk about the whole simp thing, right? You have the beta males, right, who consider themselves alphas because they can't be alphas in the communities they live in, so they can be alphas in countries, other places. Like an alpha is an alpha wherever he goes. A sigma male is a sigma male wherever he goes. Beta will leave this space so that they can try to become an alpha somewhere else, right? And then really be simp. Yeah. It's deep. Deep black light revelations, deep. But that's true, though. It's facts. If you're going through the spectrum and the characteristics, yeah. And I'm the type that I don't like to be, like, grouped into one specific category. Because I think that the beautiful thing about being a human being is that we are diverse. We're diverse. Like, we're not just one specific thing. So, because if I'm working at a job, like in my home, in my tribe, right, I am top dog. I work at a school. The principal of that school is top dog, right? So, I mean, I'm not like, weak and docile and quiet, but, I work well within the pack so that things can get done. There's a specific job that needs to happen. I'm going to get it done. We got goals. If you go to a country because you can't handle the environment in flight or fight, you flew. Preach. Being the boss in the AAA league will get you $30K a year for 38 minutes of playing time. But that's deep, though. That's deep. And that's my thing, right? Like I don't want to come on here and be like snarky and slide with insults. I'm not trying to insult. I do want people to really think about certain things. And this whole ideology around being a simp is what we gotta address. Absolutely. Call in. Hold up. I gotta put my my headphones in if you call in. So the number is at the top. You can certainly call in. Let's get into it. The number is 908-444-6257. All right. Certainly call in. Certainly call in. Certainly call in. Oh, I wish I could read to you guys some more of the comments. One person called me, and I kid you not, a tampon with lips. No, but it had me rolling though. It had me laughing. Like I was like, "Oh, that I've never been called that." Extremely original. Extremely. I mean, I'm not offended, but it was original. I had to laugh. I was drinking coffee at the time. I read that and I spit out the coffee laughing. A good insult deserves a good laugh. I don't care what you say. It does. Yeah. But yeah, call in. 908-444-6257. And if that number does not work, which it should work, 929-363. You can call that number 2. All right? You can call that number 2. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Let's talk about simping and even and I'm glad that you brought up the whole alpha conversation because it seems like it's really connected. It's connected. What does a simp look like? You know, I think men like to, not just men and women would like to create their own narrative, right? Like, you know what the alpha term is becoming today? And I mentioned this earlier. The alpha term is becoming just as watered down as the independent woman term. It's coming the same thing. Because every man wants to be an alpha. Every man wants to be an alpha male. Just like every woman wants to be a independent woman. It's become watered down. Right? And most of these people who consider themselves alphas don't really even understand the term. Where it came from. They just know that their favorite male speaker talked about it and they want to talk about it too. I got a caller coming in.
Call from
Real talk.
All right.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Let's accept this. Brother Real.
What's up with it?
How's it going, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. Let's talk about this, bro.
Yeah, man, you right. All these terms, simp, alpha male, beta male, independent woman, all of that is overused and getting watered down because the thing about black people, not just black men or black women, but with black people, they learn a word and then they use it to death. That's what we do.
Right?
That's what we do. Like, black people do that. So now, like you said, it loses power and everything.
Yeah, and it loses its definition altogether.
Yes.
Like, remember
exactly.
the conversation we had with the ladies, and we talked about independent, and we talked about the actual definition. Right?
Right.
The women were saying, well, that's not what it means to us. What does it mean?
Exactly.
What does it mean?
Yeah. They use it so much that they can make their own definition of it.
Yes. So men are doing the same thing with the term alpha,
right.
And even with the term simp, doing the same thing. So and that's the thing. Like when you and here's the thing. Here's what I'm upset about. Men don't really do that or shouldn't do that. If we're supposed to be logical thinkers, because that's what we say all the time, that men are a little bit more logical than women. If we're logical thinkers, right? Why do we misuse words when it's time to insult somebody?
Exactly.
Then is that really man behavior?
It's not, and that's the thing. Like, men are logical creatures, but these other dudes who use words like that to insult somebody, that's not logic. You see what I'm saying? They are going off of emotions.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because you don't agree with them.
Yeah. Blacklight says that he's done videos on it, so I gotta connect with him and watch his videos.
Yeah, connect with that brother.
Yeah.
He got some good. I connected with him the other day. He got some good videos.
Yeah, I gotta
But
binge watch.
But bro, look, I made a video on Kevin Samuels. The video I did about him was the one where I was talking about him trying to get a dude to take his video down because he was sharing this video out. That video, I got called a simp because I had called this lady who was on that video. I said she was a 9. So I got called a simp because I complimented another woman.
That's crazy.
And I was like, my response was like, so I'm a simp because I'm heterosexual. I think a woman looks beautiful. Like, come on now.
Yeah, see, you're throwing it around too much. Now it loses its value. You know,
right?
And then they don't self-reflect and consider what. Because here's the thing, right? They can speak negatively toward women, right? They can treat women poorly, right? And as long as they're doing things like that, in their mind, they can't be considered a simp because they're doing all the negative things that would make them feel higher than a woman, right?
Right.
But that's not what simping is. Like, it's not. Like, you're not even like doing yourself a service by tearing down a woman. That doesn't make you a non-simp. You know, it's just weird. Just weird thing. Hey, Coastal Peach, thank you so much for coming through. Blacklight says, man, we're more logical thinkers. As the whole world has changed, the women's education level is increasing over time. Women are now using logical centers, which is leading in their narcissistic behaviors. Ooh. And I'm pretty sure that there's some women in the chat that's going to definitely respond to that. Because when more logic is used, less emotion is used in decision making. And I agree. And that's the whole thing. Like, you know, when you're using logic, you're not going to just throw out words that don't make sense or don't fit in a situation. When you throw out words and it doesn't fit or it makes sense, you're going off of emotions. It means that the person that you're talking to cannot understand what you're logically trying to say because you're speaking off of emotions and you're calling names and things like that. But yeah, man, this whole simp thing. So I really wanted to do this live just so that I could find out what does it actually mean and how does it actually look. That's not on women. It's just evolution. I hear you. Kevin Samuel followers are very emotional men. They attack anyone that thinks different from him. Kevin Samuels has a beehive of mainly men. Well, he has now. Because lately he's been coming at women in a specific way.
And that's the thing. He used to not be like that.
Yeah.
He used to have content for men.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep, I saw your video today. If you guys get a chance, watch Real's video because he talked about this today. And what I don't want to try to do is make my whole live about him. Like I said, I have nothing against him as an individual. I researched and I went back and watched some of his earlier videos, and I even shared it with you. And I was like, okay, this isn't the same Kevin Samuels that we see today. All right. It's not the same as Kevin Samuels. Like, who we see today is not who he was 3 years ago. It wasn't who he was 2 years ago or 5 years ago. All right. So the brother is growing, and he found his lane. There's not one person on this planet, male or female, that should knock him for doing that. Right? But as my own man, I don't have to agree with everything that he says. And go ahead. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing. Like, I never follow people. You see what I'm saying? I follow what people say. If it's the truth, I'm going to agree with it, whether people like them or not, or her or not. I'm gonna follow the message and not the messenger, and that's what a lot of these people do. They wanna agree and like a cult following. They want to follow the person, but not exactly what they say. They don't care what they say. It's just the person that they like. You see what I'm saying? I don't do that.
Yeah,
you're right.
And we got to stop doing that. We make certain people messiahs of a specific cult that we follow. Listen to the message. Excuse me, and leave it at that. Coastal Peach wants to know what the meaning of a simp is. Let me just share this with her real quick. Excuse me. Whoa, that's that coffee. So, someone who does way too much for a person they like, or it's slang for it's a slang insult for men who are seen as too attentive and submissive to women, especially out of a failed hope of winning some entitled sexual attention, like men who go to strip clubs. I'm gonna just say it, or activities from them. Okay, because that's what a simp does, right? And again, I'm not I just by definition, all right. And then Google says, in internet slang, a simp is a person, often male, who excessively differential engages in flattery or does way too much for a person they like, sometimes with the ulterior motive of courtship towards an intimate relationship or sexual intercourse. So that's what the definition of a simp is. And the reason why I wanted to do this live stream is so that we can get to the real definition and actually talk about what does it look like for a simp to be a simp, and then allow men to self-reflect to determine whether or not they really are being this way. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't think Kevin Samuels really tears women down. Women do live streams on him all night and day. I have yet to see him single some out for dragging for someone.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah, out for dragging. Yeah, he doesn't really. But here's the thing.
He don't do that. He don't tear women down. He really just, women call into his show and he tells them the real deal. That's all he does. He don't single out nobody, in my opinion. So go ahead though.
Yeah. But here's the thing that we have to really get away from, and this is black men and black women. Okay, because after I've watched a lot of his stuff and then started seeing some of the videos that exist within the manosphere and the man space out there, they're pretty different. They're not the same. They really aren't the same. So we have a thing where black men and black women could have, not all, so I'm not speaking in absolutes, could have a disdain toward one another, which makes it hard to come together and find a common ground in order for us to build each other up together. You know, it's been profitable to exploit black male and black female relationships, and we see it in the TV that we watch. All the reality TV shows, the most popular reality TV shows out there, are exploiting the negative dynamic between a black man and a black woman.
Right.
Real Housewives of Atlanta. All 17 of the hip hop whatever that's out there. You know, like I had to stop watching it because I started to think to myself, man, like, you know, black women are toxic. And I'm like, wait a minute. Hold up. I can't fall into the whole all black women are toxic, because that's not the truth. You know? So we have to get past this thing where we are allowing people to exploit. Like, so here's what I'll encourage you guys to do, right? If you find somebody who is extremely balanced, because even in the chats of that video, right, I responded to somebody and I told them I try to see things down the middle, all right, because I want to have a balanced approach to everything. I want people to help each other, and I want to see black couples come together. And one thing I can say about KS is that I believe that that's his goal. I believe that he wants to see black couples excel. At least that's what he says. So I'm gonna take him for his word, at his word, right? But when we fall in line with people like I'm gonna say her name, Tanya TKO. When we fall in line on the opposite side with some of the men in the manosphere, we're only creating a wider divide when we should be trying to come together as black couples, as black men and black women, coming together and not being so sensitive. Having black women listen to black men, and having black men listen to black women as well. All right, and see, okay, now let's come to a common ground, right? Because what I'm not going to do as a black man is put you on a pedestal and worship you. But I do want to protect you. I do want to provide for you. All right? I do want to love you. All right? But I'm not going to worship you. All right? And then on the same time, same token, you know, black man, you know, I know that, you know, you have been given the raw end of the stick since they picked you up from, and your grandfathers and your great-great-grandfathers and your great-great-great-grandfathers from the shores of West Africa. I understand that, and I understand that this is a design. So I'm going to do whatever I can do, all right, to make sure that you're elevated to the place where you can take the rightful place as the leader in our homes and the leaders in our communities. right? But it's more profitable to create a divide, and we got to be careful of that. Got to be careful of that, man. Got to.
Right.
It all began in the 70s with the blaxploitation movies. That's a big part of it too. That's that blaxploitation movies. Yeah, y'all agree that KS does not tear women down, but it is hurtful. It's not me, but I see my female cousins, aunties, and in his thumbnail photos, etc., for the world to see. Yeah, I see what you're saying, though, Koso. I see what you're saying. Gender wars on YouTube, black exploitation YouTube. It's why someone like you, myself, or Real Talk, have to work hard for our views, but everyone else goes viral accidentally. True, and that's the truth.
Right, and I said this too before. These with these gender wars, like that's why I say the gender wars ain't even real, because I don't really hear nothing about black men and black women hating on each other and bashing each other out here in the real world. I only hear it on YouTube. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think it's not even real. It's people do it for views and attention. That's it.
Yep. Yeah, I have, and if I could use myself as an example, like, as far as that whole like high value conversation, right? Like even up until like 7-8 years ago, right? I would not be put in that conversation at all. I mean, I'm an old man now, so maybe I'm not even in that conversation now. But I wasn't in that conversation like 8 years ago, right? But for some reason, I was still garnishing the attention of women making 4, 5, 6 times what I made, right? And they were okay. So I think that you're right. Like a lot of it is subjective. A lot of it could be based on data. Data is subject to interpretation and then reiteration. So we also got to understand that as well. Just because we have data doesn't mean that it's always interpreted correctly and always disseminated correctly as well. But yeah.
You see what your student said? She said, "This is so hard for my small brain to understand."
Yes,
listen, when you get older,
yeah,
Jayla, when you get older, you'll definitely understand where we're coming from.
Yes, you will. And this is one of the awkward things about having adult conversations when you're an elementary school teacher, because your kids, some of them love you and they want to see a YouTube channel, and I'm like, that's why I tell people, don't be cursing on my channel. All right, don't.
Right.
I don't mind talking about adult conversations, but we're not about to be cursing, because I don't want to be called into the principal's office. Mr. Harrison, yeah, so we have to talk about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks, bro, for your input, man. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. And yeah, make sure, check out Black Light Revelations, and also check out the female content creator I did a video on. Her name also is Real Talk.
Yeah, I went on her channel too.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro.
All right.
Peace. All right. If you guys want to call in again, the numbers in the pinned, it's 908-444-6257, or you can call in 929-363-6614. I think the white women outside of the movement of the hate single mothers movement on Black YouTube. Yeah. So the MGTOW movement, I gotta research that a little bit more. I'm so glad I found y'all, man. I've had to binge watch my channel. I'll have to binge watch the channel. You're gonna want to go live immediately when you're done. All right. I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna go check you out, man. For real. All right. Oh man, it's already. Oh, it's supposed to be off now. Don't mean to have a simping moment, but I got a wife that I told her I would be on here for an hour. I like to spend time with my lady. So now, following the right breadcrumbs, I have videos explaining all of this and asking those questions. Thanks, I appreciate that. And guys, go over there and check out this channel. This is an excellent live stream, loving it, and I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate your input. And hopefully, we can really, discuss and chop it up. Men going their own way. Oh, that's what it's called. Men going their own way. Gotcha. Yeah. So I have heard of that. I have heard of that. Yeah, they go in their own way. That's a deeper conversation also. Again, not hating anybody's platforms, but it's sort of in response to. So here's the thing. I'll say this and then I have to go. The men going their own way is a response to the whole narrative of black women thinking black men aren't, pieces of poo poo, right? Because that was their response to black men in the late 70s, early 80s, and early 90s not accepting responsibility for their actions. So it's we gotta unpack all of that. So yeah, real talk. The woman is awesome. She makes great videos, excellent production skills. Also, I'm going to sub to everyone in here. This is the kinds of conversations I enjoy. This is actually awesome. I just subscribed. Yeah. Please subscribe. I'm going to do that right after I get off. Definitely going to do that right after I get off. Let me see if I can do it now. Because I have. Hold on. Let me get this done right now before I go. But you know what? We need conversations like this. And even still, like, let's say like you disagree with me on something, I welcome you to call me on it, because if I'm giving misinformation, one of the things I really, really, really am afraid of is giving misinformation, because I think knowledge is power, and if I'm not giving the right knowledge, then I'm not causing people to be empowered. So. You are Alfred. Your beta traits to appropriately simp for the wife unapologetically. You hear me, right? Thank you. All right, guys, listen. I'm going to end it here. Thank you guys so much for watching and being a part of this live stream and just talking about this. I think, and I will close out with saying, I don't believe that a man should put himself aside in hopes to win the attention of any female. At the end of the day, you're a man, and be a man. And I think that's what women respect. That's what women want. And be honest and upfront from the very beginning with what you want in the relationship. Okay. And here's the thing also. Not everyone isn't for everybody. Everyone isn't for everybody. All right. So don't think that you are a simp because you like somebody and you're trying to get their attention and you're going to go about it the right way without putting yourself aside. Okay. And also, if you're going to use words like a simp, you got to consider a simp in the total definition of it. Because if a man is simping over a woman for wanting to pay for her, dinner and all that stuff and impress her, but he's not a simp for doing the same thing when he goes to a club, then there's inconsistency there. It's not logical. So let's be logical in our definitions. Ms. Torin, thank you so much for coming through. I'm about to end the live now. But that's it, man. Everybody have a good night. I really appreciate you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. And until I go live again, I'll see you guys later. All right? Peace.